groovy.
Hey everybody, welcome back. You know, until recently, I was not aware that here in Japan at one time there was essentially the Konami equivalent of Nintendo Power. It was these guys, Konami Magazine, which I had never heard of until a few weeks ago. By chance, I was in a hard off that had some strategy guides and things that I was going through. They were about $1 a piece, and the price tags are actually still on here. About 100 yen or $1 a piece. And I came across these issues of Konami Magazine, which I thought was really cool. I wasn't aware that these had been made. And since I picked up a few of them and I was going through them and thought they looked pretty cool, I thought I would share this with you all because, yeah, again, this is essentially the Konami equivalent of Nintendo Power. It's a full-on, like the title says, it's Konami Magazine. So let's take a look inside and see what Konami Magazine used to be all about. Okay, so the first one I have here is from April of 1997, and it's got a Tokimeki Memorial cover, which I hope I'm saying that right. Tokimeki Memorial. I believe so. Maybe like someone like Jimmy Hoppa or maybe even Nostalgic Dan or Joe would correct me. But so as you might imagine, there's going to be a lot of Tokimeki Memorial stuff in this issue. If you're not familiar with the series, that's because I don't think it was ever had any releases in the United States. It's essentially Konami published dating sim games. So opening up this issue, though, the first thing that you see is this very cool Symphony of the Night advert. It says now on sale. Really awesome. You got Dracula, Alucard, Maria, and Richter. One of my absolute favorite PlayStation games. A favorite for a lot of people, actually. Here we have something. This is where it says actress game preview. So this woman here is playing this game that apparently she is an actress in. This character called Cassie, and they're gathered around playing PlayStation, apparently. And I guess she's playing her character and giving a little insight on the creation of the game, or her part in it, I guess. Here's a really cool advert for kind of an underappreciated RPG on the PS1, and that's Azure Dreams. Pretty good. Not one that gets talked about very much, and one I haven't played since I think back in 1998 thereabouts when I rented it over a weekend. Azure Dreams, I remember it being pretty good. PS1, obviously Konami published RPG. Here an advert for Paro Wars, however you want to pronounce it, the strategy battle Parodius game, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here, this is obviously for the cover story. It's, I guess, this fellow who's a director for the Tokimeki Memorial Games. There's an article, an interview with him discussing the various Tokimeki Memorial games here. These were released on PlayStation, Saturn, and then PC, and probably some other things as well. Again, not really well known outside of Japan. They even threw in a nice little comic strip, which is kind of nice. It's a 2-page comic strip though, so what can you do with that, really? Here, really awesome, kind of risque advert for Symphony of the Night. You got some screenshots, and you got some character art, including this topless succubus here, which good luck getting a topless female character into a North American magazine at any time ever. But this is pretty cool. Anything Symphony of the Night related, I'm obviously going to be into. Okay, here's pretty cool 2-page advertisement for Metal Gear Solid, which was not out at the time. They were still kind of hyping it up, but very cool. You know, the Cyber Ninja, and I believe this is Metal Gear behind them, just showing artwork, getting people excited for the new Metal Gear Solid, which was soon to be coming out. Yeah, very cool looking advertisement for MGS. I like that. Okay, so here's a little 2-page spread on Tokimeki Memorial, and I think it says Tokaidama. This is actually puzzle games based on the Tokimeki Memorial game. So this is something that a non-Japanese speaking person would probably get more enjoyment out of, because they're pretty fun puzzle games, and they even have some hidden extra games in there, if I'm not mistaken. Nostalgic Dan did a vid on one or more of these, and so these are actually pretty cool. Might be worth playing for some of you import enthusiasts. Kind of a cool advert as well. It extends to the back, but then it also shares some space with Suikoden, or Genso Suikoden. I don't know if that's Suikoden 2 or not, but yeah, the Suikoden games, pretty cool. More Konami published goodness. Here's kind of like a little, I guess what you could call like an editor's corner type thing. So you have little comments and updates from the people, I guess, working at Konami Magazine. So that's pretty cool. I always enjoyed, I used to read a lot of Game Fan and Game Pro, and it was always cool to read the little, I guess, messages from the editors and writers and things like that. I like that. And a cool, nice little 2-page advert for Ganbare Goemon 5, which was going to be released on, I don't know, because it doesn't say, either the PlayStation or the N64. Ganbare Goemon 5. I know that was a series that appeared on both systems pretty frequently. Here in the back is pretty cool. It says the Konami Soft lineup, and you could see all the releases that had just come out at the time that they were promoting. So you can see like Police Knots and the PlayStation and Saturn versions of Snatcher, and there's Parodius and all kinds of really cool stuff. The Gradius, is it Gradius Collection or something that collect? Yes, Gradius Deluxe Pack. Even some Super Famicom games like Animaniacs and a Ganbare Goemon game. So this is pretty cool. They were still releasing Super Famicom games circa 1997. Okay, so this next issue is July of 97, and as you can see, it has a very cool Ganbare Goemon cover, and then on the back, pretty cool advert. Goemon getting himself a haircut. Probably pretty tough for the poor barber. Let's see what we got inside. First thing you open up, you see 2 adverts. One for Paro Wars, and the other one for, again, Azure Dreams. Pretty cool, kind of underrated PS1 RPG. The kind of a nice advert for the Tokimeki Memorial puzzle game. The young lady with the various puzzle balls floating around her head. I guess she's been playing a little too much puzzly games. Okay, so I guess the actress game preview is a very common thing. So we have this lovely young lady. Looks like she's playing Paro Wars and giving her thoughts on it. So the old tried and true measure of just get a pretty girl to just be in the same room as your product, and you can maybe move a few extra units. And then a little more about the young lady and her undying love of Paro Wars, apparently. Okay, so here's a pretty cool 4-page section on Gradius Gaiden, which is awesome. Anything Gradius is going to be cool. So you get some cool artwork, and then some little excerpts here explaining the different power-ups and different types of ships that you're going to use in Gradius Gaiden. And then going over to the next page, It lays out some different stages and what you can expect in there. Very cool. Gradius Gaiden. Not sure I've ever played this one. I've played a lot of Gradius in my day, but yeah, that's cool. 4-page Gradius Gaiden. Who, dedicating 4 pages to Gradius. Only Konami Magazine. So this is pretty cool. It's a 2-page spread on the Salamander Deluxe Pack Plus. Another great classic Konami shooter that was, I guess, updated and re-released on probably the PlayStation and the Saturn. So that's very cool. Some Salamander love. Most classic shoot 'em up enthusiasts will know and like Salamander or Life Force, whichever you prefer. For all of you sports fans, we got a nice little 2-page spread here for NBA Power Dunkers for the N64. Yes, indeed, an NBA game. Power Dunkers N64. It's 100% complete, and it's actually, you'll have to excuse me, it was available for Windows 95. So any of you Windows 95 users that need a nice basketball game, NBA Power Dunkers should be coming out about 19 years ago. So keep an eye out for it. A series of Konami racers for the PlayStation. This is Midnight Run Road Fighter 2. Not very familiar with this series, but it has kind of a, Tokyo Extreme Racer vibe I'm getting from it. Yeah, Midnight Run for the PlayStation. Not something I'm too familiar with. Okay, so this is kind of cool. There's another 2-page spread on Metal Gear Solid. What's kind of odd about this one is that it's in English. So we've got some screenshots and we've got kind of some, credits down at the bottom, but then again, it's in English, so it says the theme is anti-nuclear, anti-war. It's a real and precise world. Attractive characters to add vividness to this hard-boiled world. A new genre, undercover espionage game. A new expression of real-time, full polygon action. A spy action game which surpasses any genre. So they were really, really pushing Metal Gear Solid at this point in July of '97. Very cool, but very odd to find a whole article in English in a Japanese publication. This is pretty cool. We have kind of like a nice little 2-page spread here for Vandal Hearts, which is another Konami published RPG, and we got a little like Vandal Hearts comic strip here, which is called Bandarian. No idea what the meaning behind that is, but yeah, you get some little Vandal Hearts comics, and you get a 2-page advert for Vandal Hearts the game. Very cool. Okay, so here we have kind of long bit on Ganbare Goemon 5, I believe this is. It's many multiple page spread, so it's kind of like some little maps and strategies for your Ganbare Goemon playing experience. So almost like a little tips section for how to navigate certain areas of the game, which is very cool. Again, when I used to read a lot of Game Fan and Game Pro, kind of like the tips and tricks. Was there a tips and tricks magazine as well? I think there was. But that was some of my favorite stuff to read, was cool little strategies and cheats to use in the games. So I like, this is a very cool section right here. Wow. Kind of a cool little Ganbare Goemon comic book, or comic strip, I should say, where Goemon and I forget his name, the Dr. Ying and Kid Yang will use their English names. They're having a bit of a battle here. We have kind of the American soldier type comes in, and this woman can apparently, her boobs have little faces on them, and she can apparently detach her boobs and hurl them at you offensively, which is a very interesting way to attack one's enemies, to say the least. Okay, so we have some more Ganbare Goemon here, but we have kind of a lengthy bit for the Powerful Pro Baseball series. This is one, if I'm not mistaken, it stayed in Japan, but there are a lot of releases in this series. They're actually still making this series today. It's kind of a cute little chibi, super deformed baseball series that is pretty fun, actually. But again, I don't think this one ever got released outside of the States, but they release these pretty much annually, and they are pretty popular and actually quite fun. Okay, so here's a quick preview of what was going to eventually be the Castlevania on N64. Right here, they're just calling it Akumajo Dracula 3D, and they're just showing off some of the kind of like 3D polygons and things like that they're using in the game. I guess kind of get, to get people a little bit hyped. Yeah, Castlevania 64, definitely not my favorite Castlevania game, but not as horrible as some people might have you think, but this is kind of cool. They're kind of the early workings of Castlevania 64. And then once again, if you flip to the back, they have the Konami Soft lineup with the Salamander Deluxe Pack and Snatcher and Parodius Police Knots, Goemon, all kinds of really great stuff being released on the Saturn PlayStation in 1997 by Konami, for sure. Okay, the final issue I have here is from 1998. I think this is August of 98, and by this time the magazine was getting much thinner. I guess maybe sales weren't going so good, they were cutting costs. This one has a pretty cool Metal Gear Solid cover, and it says down at the bottom, Metal Gear Solid on sale September 3rd, 1998. So let's take a look inside. The first thing we're greeted with is a Metal Gear Solid advert and some contents here, including, obviously there's going to be a nice Metal Gear Solid article because that's the big game that they're hyping, and another very cool 2-page Metal Gear Solid advert in here. This is very nice. I'd be tempted to remove these from the magazine and put them on a wall somewhere. This is kind of cool, kind of a lesser appreciated Konami game for the N64, Hybrid Heaven. Me and a friend of mine really got into this game when we rented it on a few separate occasions. We got really into the whole, you could level up each individual body part as you used it, and we were kind of into the whole cyberpunk story that they had going on. Hybrid Heaven, kind of an underrated Konami game on the 64. Very cool advert. Very cool advert for Suikoden 2, aka Genso Suikoden 2. Very cool game, very good RPG for the PlayStation. Again, published by Konami, who apparently made some just excellent RPGs. And here's a little more, I guess, to get the readers enticed to play some Suikoden 2. Lots of really nice screenshots, some short character bios here. Very cool stuff, Suikoden 2. Great game. And really cool Silent Hill. We got some really nice screenshot from Silent Hill here, and some information down at the bottom of the screen, giving you a little info on the character featured here. And then we have a 2-page advert for Dancing Blade, which is a game I either have or had. I may have gotten rid of it because it's more or less a full motion video game, which plays a lot like I guess a graphic novel kind of a full motion video graphic novel mix, and that's not really my favorite series of games. So while it's a beautiful looking game, I didn't really enjoy the gameplay. Dancing Blade. Here's an advert for a Konami 3D fighter. It says Boogie, I believe. This has to be... I don't know what the English equivalent of this would be. It looks very familiar. It's a PlayStation game. Somebody might want to tell me, because for the life of me I can't recall. It must have been kind of a forgettable fighting game then. Okay, so here's something kind of cool. Aside from the little Yu-Gi-Oh advert here, which Konami published all the Yu-Gi-Oh games, right here there's an advert for Jersey Devil, which I really enjoy this game. Very, very cool 3D platformer. I think this is one that tends to be forgotten as time passes, because there were so many 3D platformers on the PlayStation, but this was a good one. You could what would I compare it to, though? Almost like one of the 3D Gex games, I guess I would compare it to. Plays a lot like that. You can glide and do a spin attack, like almost every 3D platformer character did spin attacks. But you run around, you collect pumpkins and collect other various things and coins and what have you, and take down big bosses. Jersey Devil is a game that I quite liked on the PlayStation. Not a lot of love for Jersey Devil. Okay, so believe it or not, we're getting to the end of the magazine here, and there is not a big Metal Gear Solid article, which really, really surprises me. Why would you have Metal Gear Solid on your cover and then not have a big article hyping up this game that was going to be coming out a month later? I have no idea. But in the back, we once again have the Konami Soft lineup, and they're still pushing games like Snatcher and Police Knots, Tokimeki Memorial. A lot of Tokimeki Memorial games back here. And what the hell else were they putting out at the time? Still pushing the Salamander Deluxe Pack, Twinbee back here, a whole host of things. Paro Wars, Azure Dreams still in there, Nagano games. So yeah, this is, I mean, talk about Konami not really putting much out these days. Look at this. In 1998, this is all of what Konami was publishing. They were publishing racing games, RPGs, shoot 'em ups, action titles, fighting games, you name it, Konami was publishing it. Really kind of a stark contrast between now and then, I would say. And that's the end of the magazine. So there you go. That's just kind of a brief look into Konami Magazine, which I have no idea when they started running this magazine. I have no idea when they stopped running this magazine, but it is pretty cool. Video game magazines are always fun to go through. They're kind of like a little time capsule. I could look back into 1997 and 98 and be flooded with all these memories. So there you go, Konami Magazine, Konami's equivalent to Nintendo Power that was once published in Japan. Very cool. I'd like to hear from you in the comments section. What are some of your favorite gaming magazines from back in the 90s, I guess, and 80s as well? For me, I used to read a lot of Game Fan, Game Pro, Electronic Gaming Monthly, PSM. Used to read a lot of gaming magazines, so it was really fun for me to find these and have a look through them. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, taking a look into some Konami Magazine. Again, let me know in the comments, what are your favorite gaming magazines of all time? It's not really a very popular medium anymore, magazines, unfortunately. But thank you for watching. Please come back again next time. Take care, everybody. Goodbye.